Let's review. We have $16 trillion in debt, and it's climbing every single day. We have no budget from the Senate for the last 3 years. The President's budget got exactly 0 votes in the House and in the Senate. And the federal government has dramatically increased spending, which has led to this spending-driven crisis. Let me show you what I mean by that. 5 years ago, in 2007, Federal Treasury received in $2.5 trillion in revenue, the same amount that's estimated to come in this year in revenue. $2.5 trillion 5 years ago, $2.5 trillion now. 5 years ago, total spent by the federal government, $2.7 trillion, now $3.7 trillion. That almost looks like a $1 trillion difference in spending, which equals the same amount as our deficit. It's amazing to me. When we process through this, the problem is crystal clear. It's just the solution that seems to evade us in this process. Now, some would say, tell you what we need to do. We've increased spending $1 trillion. Let's just increase taxes as well, and that'll solve the issue. I would say, why are we spending money we don't have? Last summer, we agreed that we would cut some spending and put a group of people together in a room and let them work out a plan to find $1 trillion in cuts. The backup, the emergency backup plan, was that we would cut across the board if a solution wasn't found. 10% for security, 8% for everything else. Now, no one wants across-the-board cuts that are that huge. A 1% cut in agencies would be no big deal. I can't imagine any agency could handle 1%. 2%, no big deal, maybe even 3%. But you start to climb up, and it really begins to cut. To some agencies, they're actually very efficient. Other agencies, you could do a 50% cut, and it'd be fine. The problem is an across-the-board cut becomes a very big issue for us. Treating every line item the same is a mistake. Every part is not the same in our budget. Let me give you an example. At my house, on a Saturday afternoon, I'll open up a Dr. Pepper can at my house, and my very cute redheaded 12-year-old daughter will walk up and say, Daddy, can we split that? I will almost always smile at her and say, sure. I'll take the liquid, you take the can, we'll split it even. To which she says to me, that's not really fair. But it again comes back to the same point. Not all parts are the same. If we do across-the-board cuts in every area, that is not the best way to do it. Now, I guarantee you, you allow this House to go item by item through this budget, we will find $100 billion in cuts next year. I guarantee you. But doing it across the board cuts into FBI, it cuts into our defense, it cuts into Border Patrol, it cuts into the basics and the heart of what we're doing, and we cannot do that. The House passed a very specific plan for dealing with this last May. It is complete for us. Now it's time for the Senate to actually do their job, and it's time for the President to send that over to us. With that, I yield back.